Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue is spinning on the ones and twos.
I am tweeting.
Are we working? Are we up on ROKFIN or? Huh? All right. Okay. No big deal. We're here on YouTube's, tweets, Twitzers. You know where to find us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this nice little afternoon edition of the Convo Couch, fam. We got some peeps to talk about, don't we?
We do. We got some things to talk about.
Well, before we do that, let me just say, if you haven't joined our ROKFIN, ROKFIN, do so. That's where you can catch normally the live streams. We had some issues we're dealing with there, but we'll have them straightened on out. Also, if you're a Patreon, and I want to say thank you to our 94 Patreons. Thank you so much from the bottom of me's heart. We couldn't do this without you. But if you have a chance, go over to ROKFIN, ROKFIN, sign up. And if you have a few extra bucks to endorse, please endorse, do so, and help us out. We will be putting clips back up on YouTube after it's done. We will not be putting up the whole stream. That is only for ROKFIN and
patrons.
Patrons as well.
Patrons.
All right, fam. So let's get down to it because we have a little fun show today.
Yeah.
Let's start off. You have a little tweets out there you put up, right?
Yeah.
What's with the tweets?
So, Biden knew. So, more information's coming out that Obama and Biden knew all along about ObamaGate.
Yes.
And we've spoken about ObamaGate here. A lot of other journalists have been covering it. Max Blumenthal has been on top of it. And Donald Trump actually did something funny, and I don't know how many people actually caught this, but he called Kelsey Gabbard.
Yes.
And then he went on to say that that he doesn't really remember her, even though he met with her, but that her and Jill Stein are not Russian agents. And he defended them against the Democrats. And here's the thing: Democrats have done nothing lately than make him look good, than make him look at least like somewhat rational in comparison to them.
They victimized him. They made him look like the victim because they did do this. This is disgusting. I mean, at this point right now, if you are a Democrat because you think that you are doing the right moves, the more virtuous moves, you're not. You're standing behind pure fucking corruption and evil at this point right now. I mean, they are bad. Obama gave the order. We don't know if he was given the order or following the orders. I put a poll up on
I think
Twitter.
Let's discuss that. I think he was actually following orders. I think he gave some orders, but he was following them from somebody else. So
that's the question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? A lot of people talked about the Logan Act in which they got General Flynn on and think that Obama was somewhat of the mastermind because who would be able to dig back to a case in the late 1800s to hang a current day general, maybe a constitutional lawyer, someone who taught constitutional law at the University of Illinois, not mentioning any names, Barack Obama. But either way, they used this whole narrative that Trump was an agent of Vladimir Putin to not only paralyze and, demean him, but, give brownie points to themselves. But this was one of the most awful moves anybody can make. This is corruption at the highest level. This is thinking that you have the right to do this stuff and you do not. And really, to tell you the truth, this is the true treason in which they talk about and which they committed.
Well, and not only that, they used it to avoid any sort of accountability regarding what they did in 2016. They absolutely use RussiaGate and Neo-McCarthy smears to get people to focus on Trump as a Putin's puppet instead of the election fraud, the blatant election fraud and the DNC manipulations made on behalf of Hillary Clinton during the 2016. And now we have 4 years later, 3 years of discussing RussiaGate as something that was absolutely to be believed. And they always cite the Mueller report. This is what gets me. They cite the Mueller report that was put out by the same intelligence agencies that did this. Anybody who cites the Mueller report is a moron to me at this point because that report is entirely fabricated by the same machine that is pushing this narrative. So, have you read it? Did you even read it?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't fucking matter. It's bullshit.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, I can tell you who didn't read it was Robert Mueller. He had no purview in his... Mueller didn't read the Mueller report. It was a bunch of bullshit. And like people like Adam Schiff going around and pushing this narrative, 2 years now he knew. that CrowdStrike, the agency that supposedly looked at the DNC servers that were never given up, that Trump would say, well, give us the servers, like, oh, we can't do it. I mean, they made Trump look good on this stuff because it's, it's obvious. It's common sense. Let's look at the servers that said that they were hacked, that they accused that Russia hacked. But now CrowdStrike said 2 years ago that there was no empirical evidence that Russia ever hacked those servers. Now, Schiff has been sitting on this information for 2 years. The documents were just recently released. He went on and pushed this narrative knowing this information. Once again, that's misleading the public, that's treasonous, and that's a country, Russia, that has nuclear weapons. But let's start with the little film right here, because this thing gets dirty, deeper, and juicier, and Obama and Biden, they have a price to pay. But here is Donald Trump talking about Tulsi Gabbard.
A level that nobody's come close to. We've cut regulations, the biggest tax decrease in history. You look at all of the things that we've done, all of the things we've done on health care, with the individual mandate, with pre-existing conditions. Nobody's done anywhere close to what we've done. But despite that, if you look, despite an illegal witch hunt, and that's what it was a hoax, it was a witch hunt. The Russian thing was a made-up, fabricated story. Just like they went to Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know her at all. And they said, you're a Russian agent. I don't know her, but I know she's not a Russian agent. Then they went to Dr. Jill Stein of the Green Party. They said she's a Russian agent. I don't know her at all. I know she's not a Russian agent. These people are sick. Pelosi is a sick woman. She's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental problems. We're dealing with people that have to get their act together for the good of the country. Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, my God.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm sorry.
Are the Russians in the room with us right now?
Yeah, they're here.
Remember that meme?
They're feeding me
like,
information.
it's like, are the Russians in the room with you right now? You're sitting down with the therapist, and when Donald Trump says these people are sick,
yeah.
I mean,
no, they are.
Lying? Is he lying?
They are. That's the thing. This is the worst part. It's your fault, Democrats, for making me have to say Donald Trump is right. Yeah. It's not. It's your fault. It's not his fault. It's your fault. You guys did this. And it's like, people, I retweeted that video and people were like, oh, well, he's right, I guess one time. Like, if you're more focused on being angry, if you're more focused on being angry at Trump and having to hate him than what actually happened, then we have a problem. And that's the problem with the liberal left, is that they're so focused on having to hate Donald Trump that they can't logically remove themselves and look at the whole situation and be like, yeah, he may be an asshole, but hey, he's right about this. He's right about all of this. Mm-hmm. It was a witch hunt. You're making him a victim. You are literally elevating this guy's chances of winning because they're completely avoiding any sort of accountability. They have gone way too far now to go back. And so now they just look like a bunch of idiots and liars.
They really, they're criminals. This is some really sinister shit here.
Yeah.
We don't like Donald Trump. We didn't vote for him in this room. We will probably never, excuse me, I'm not going to say probably. I know for a fact that I will never vote for him. They will never vote for him. Johnny Fee, no way whatsoever will we vote for him. But just because we don't like him doesn't mean that we can remove the fact that he was the rightfully elected leader and president of the United States in 2016.
Hillary won the popular vote.
It doesn't make a difference. You didn't care about the freaking electoral system when it favored
Hillary
you. Hillary
didn't win the primary, you guys. Just so for the record, she didn't.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about cheating where we have actual proof. But once again, he was the elected leader. For you to go over and commit these treason. First of all, Obama, he gave the order. We don't know if he was following it, but he said to spy on his rivals. An incoming president is getting spied on by an outgoing president using the intelligence community. And we find out now that all the band members were in the room. James Clapper, Brennan, these people who paid no price. Remember Shahid Buttar getting arrested? These people paid no price for lying to the American people and what Snowden revealed back then. These people are evil. This is the actual true deep state. And now we find even further. And we know in this particular channel over here, Biden's what he did in the Ukraine, that he gave the thumbs up to Victoria Nuland.
Now people are starting to slowly talk about it, but we've been talking about it for like a year.
And more news coming out of Ukraine. But let's stick right here on ObamaGate, because Mr. Joe said that he didn't know what was going on. But it turns out, whispers, breaking, Joe Biden directly implicated in growing ObamaGate scandal just 24 hours after he lied about it. So it says Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden was among a list of other very high-ranking Obama-era officials directly implicated in the quickly escalating ObamaGate scandal that also included former Obama White House Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough, as well as former FBI Director James Comey, another freaking gem, former National Intelligence Director James Clapper, and former CIA Director John Brennan. They started a coup, okay? So Biden is what we're calling him right now, was in the room. When they went over these plans, they talked about it. They were there at the briefing. He knew. So let's take a look real quick at him on Stephanopoulos, and he has to be reminded. It's like, Biden, it says right here in the list that you were in the friggin' room. Watch this shit.
Well, let me tell you something. We're doing very well. We're following the guidelines of the medical profession. We're following the guidelines of the experts, the Dr. Fauci's of the world. We're doing very well, and matter of fact, we're winning if you look at all the polling data. I'm not saying that's going to last till November. I don't know enough to know that.
Because President Obama targeted Flynn. He called it, quote, the biggest political crime in U.S. history. Your former Senate colleague, Charles Grassley, has added that Flynn was entrapped and asked on the Senate floor, what did Obama and Biden know? When did they know it? So what did you know about those moves to investigate Michael Flynn, and was there anything improper done?
I know nothing about those moves to investigate Michael Flynn, number one. Number two, this is all about diversion. This is a game this guy plays all the time. The country is in crisis. We're in an economic crisis, a health crisis. We're in real trouble. He should stop trying to always divert attention from the real concerns of the American people. The American people are worried with good reason. He has acted irresponsibly from the very beginning. He continues to act irresponsibly. He hasn't done his job. This is all about diverting attention from the horrible way in which he has acted with what he did. We don't have coronavirus because of him, but we have the devastating impact of it because of his lack of a policy, his lack of action. It's all about diversion.
I do want to press that. You say you didn't know anything about it, but you were reported to be at a January 5th, 2017 meeting where you and the president were briefed on the FBI's plan to question Michael Flynn over those conversations he had with the Russian ambassador Kislyak.
No, I thought you asked me whether or not I had anything to do with him being prosecuted.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was aware that they asked for an investigation, but that's all I know about it, and I don't think anything else. Look, think about this. Can you imagine any other president of the United States focusing on this at the moment when the country is just absolutely concerned?
You know, their propaganda too, fam. It's like they're told, just continue your lie. Continue to say your lie. Right in the middle of the situation, it's like, oh, you didn't know anything about it. You were in the room. You were briefed on it. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you asked if I knew the whole finer details of what's going on. You fucking knew. You were part of it. You were in the room, pal.
It's funny how they try to project, like, yeah, Donald Trump is diverting attention, but you're giving him all of the ammunition to do so. You guys are diverting attention. You guys are not having any accountability as Democrats, and you're losing the people because of it. That's it. I mean, Donald Trump, people could still argue that he wasn't doing as much as he could for the pandemic, but also you have to take into consideration the Congress isn't doing as much as they can on this pandemic. It's not just Donald Trump. And again, you're giving me the ammunition to defend him because this is the reality.
Yeah.
People like Nancy Pelosi are the ones that are not putting the $2,000 UBI in there.
Yep.
People like Mitch McConnell too. Like, I mean, it's on both ends. But again, this isn't necessarily something that Trump can even do. And they're just relying on blaming him on everything to divert the culpability that they have on their hands. And they are not admitting to anything. This is so bad because they refuse to admit when they're wrong. And when a person or an organization is refusing to admit they're wrong, how are you going to trust them from now on?
And it's pure propaganda. They just continue to tell your lies. It's like they're on the same page. All the Democratic establishment, deep state lackeys, they're all on the same fucking page. Just continue to tell your lie. Continue to say that Donald Trump is the evil one. Continue to say that Donald Trump is the corrupt one. Continue to say he's mishandling stuff. Try to say that he's just diverting from what's going on. And every single Democrat, when you talk to those David Atkins and whatnot, it's a big nothing burger. There's nothing there. I'm like, what do you mean there's nothing there? They were telling me for years that the Ukraine situation, the scandal, the fact that what Biden did, and I'm going to say Biden because Obama knew, he tried to distance himself. Once again, these people work back and forth. Obama and Biden, remember when we say vice presidents don't have a big role? Not in the Obama administration. All his little scandals, all his little scheming in these other countries, the regime changed. It seems like Biden was at the front of it, and we also knew that he gave the thumbs up in the Ukraine, all right? So the big nothing burger, let's take another look at this right now, because what just came through? Phone calls between Biden and Ukraine's, remember Pork Chop Poroshenko, I used to call him? Leaked. Details $1 billion in quid pro quo to fire Burisma prosecuted. So it says leaked phone calls between Joe Biden and former Ukrainian President Petro Porkchop Poroshenko explicitly detail the quid pro quo agreement to fire the Ukrainian prosecutor General Viktor Shokin, who Poroshenko admits did nothing wrong in exchange for $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees. And that was the big whole scandal. Remember when he says, well, you're not getting the money. He did this openly. He says, until you fire Viktor Shokin, you ain't getting that money.
You ain't getting
now,
that money.
If you want to play it again, John, you're more than welcome to. You got it lined up. Take a look. Let's just remind people.
Providing the hard data after some serious looks as to what is going on.
It's okay. We all remember this. Everybody knows about him. You're not getting the money, and he bragged into, what do you know? Mm-hmm. The prosecutor was fired. Okay, well now a Ukrainian judge orders Joe Biden listed as a alleged perpetrator of crime, and the prosecutor's firing. Because once again, just like Flynn, I mean, Obama and Biden and their little crew ruined so many people's fucking lives. General Flynn, they ruined his life over this situation. They set him up and manipulated him. I mean, this was a phone call with an ambassador Mr. Flynn had, he was drunk. It was cocktail hour. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was Kushner saying, hey, man, talk to him about this vote coming up in the UN to help us out. And they fucking manipulated the whole situation and moved General Flynn into a prosecution deal, a plea deal, admitting he lied, to the FBI. And they all made it look about he was lying about his Russian connections. No, that wasn't the case. Well, how about this guy over here, fam? We're talking about Shokin. They ruined his life over there. So the Ukraine judge orders Joe Biden listed as an alleged perpetrator of a crime and the prosecutor's firing. It just says right here real quick, the infamous story of Joe Biden's effort to force the firing of Ukraine's chief prosecutor in 2016 has taken a new legal twist in Kiev. Just as the former vice president is sewing up the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination in America, in Kiev last month, District Court Judge Vivork ordered the country's law enforcement service to formally list fired prosecutor Viktor Shokin as a victim of alleged crime by the former U.S. vice president, according to the official English translation of the ruling obtained by Just the News. Okay, so what they're saying now, fam, is like, nope, he's a victim of a crime, this gentleman here. He was illegally removed with your little puppet government they fucking put up, and right now we're going to expose it. So they're going to bring all this shit back out on the surface and stuff. This was a scandal. Let's not forget there was a regime change here. There was a bloody regime change on the Maidan in Ukraine, okay? People died. Police officers were burned alive, and the NAD had all their fingerprints on it, and Joe Biden gave the thumbs up, and Obama said okay as well.
They made money off of it.
Tons of money.
Tons of money. That's like the worst part, too, because they didn't just do it. They profited off of regime change.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Check this out.
Thank you, John.
The Situation Room.
Hello. Joe Biden.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Your call has been convened.
Petro, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's better.
I can hear you better too. I'm sorry.
No problem.
You were saying, I missed what you were saying.
Yeah. So, first of all, I'm very happy to hear you. Second, this is very valuable for me that you find out a time for me even in Minnesota. And I'm dreaming some days to be with you in Minnesota.
That's easy, man. I tell you what, I'd like to be with you instead of Minnesota right now, but go ahead.
The third, I have some positive and negative news. I will start with the positive news.
The new prosecutor general. I know there's a lot more that has to be done, but I really think that's good, and I understand you're working with the rod in the coming days on a number of additional laws to secure the IMF. So, but congratulations on installing the new prosecutor general. It's going to be critical for him to work quickly to repair the damage Shokin did. And I'm a man of my word. And that now that the new prosecutor general's in place, we're ready to move forward in signing that new $1 billion loan guarantee. And I don't know how you want to go about that. I'm not going to be able to get to Kyiv anytime soon, meaning next month or so. And I don't know whether you could either sign it with our ambassador, or if you came here, we could sign it, or if you want, we're inviting Groisman here later. I'm going to be talking to him later this morning, not for that purpose.
But right there it is. Now we're ready to go along with that $1 billion that you removed the person who was looking into the holdings of my son. Was it Hunter in Burisma, right? You know, it wasn't Bo. Hunter. Sorry. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I think, fam, that we deserve a 100% audit of the Democratic primary, especially all the mail-ins across this whole frigging country and every single primary. Who the hell is voting for this asshole? Who the hell is voting for this corrupt son of a bitch? I mean, a light bulb has to go up above your head. The fact that Obama got on the phone and made Buttigieg drop out of the race when he was ahead of Biden, okay? Made Klobuchar drop out of the race when she was ahead of Biden, and everything. It's like they had everything in place, ladies and gentlemen. These people are so corrupt. Obama, man, I remember when I used to say he had no scandals. Oh, my God. Oh, my Lanta. And everything is connected with Biden. This is disgusting. We didn't even audit, fam. We got a show. I guarantee there's a bunch of dead people who voted mail-in for fucking Biden. I'll guarantee it.
I mean, I just think that the whole primary was a sham. We need a whole do-over. That's not going to happen coming from the Democratic Party. They're just going to use the coronavirus just like they're using it now. They're saying, oh, we need to worry about the people. We need to stop talking about all this stuff. This is just diverting attention. But they're not doing anything about the people either. So just keep that in mind when they talk about, oh, yeah, we need to focus on not on this Trump stuff. Yeah, like, because they're not doing anything either in regards to the economic issues that people are facing. It's disgusting.
It is pretty disgusting, and they got away with it. And seeing the Democratic establishment, even the people we saw at these conventions in California, the way they defend Biden, it's disgusting. And you know what? It is just pure propaganda. The way they get the masses, the people who are following them, to say, but Trump's the evil guy. I mean, even some of my friends are like, well, I still want the establishment to take control over Donald Trump. I'm like, it's bad if that happens. We're going to take one step forward and two steps back. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep digressing. Biden as the president just only hurts us. It gets us, it puts us further in the weeds. The fact we have to do what Fiorella has said at this point right now, and that's the superhero Fiorella, we have to destroy the Democratic Party, and they're destroying themselves. All these people should not be looked upon. They should be looked down upon. The Pelosis, the Schiffs, the Schumers, the Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Obama, the Bidens, the Clintons, people praising any of these people. You know what I'm saying? The fact that Elizabeth Warren was going around with Hillary Clinton, fucking stupid.
Oh, and I just saw this, but it seems people are really convinced that he's tapped Warren for VP. And that's something to look into as well. So keep that in mind, because that is, again, the co-option. Oh, he picked a progressive Warren as a VP. Everything is good now because she's going to solve everything as a VP. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
it's like I said, at this point, I think they want Trump to be the president.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really think they want Trump to be the president, to put forth this guy. I mean, do you really believe, ladies and gentlemen, do you really believe he got all those votes? Do you believe he got 500,000 votes in Los Angeles?
I'm telling you, he didn't get 500,000 votes.
Half a million votes in Los Angeles. Get
no
the
way.
F out of here.
He didn't even show up to any convention. And there's I've seen more Pete Buttigieg and Klobuchar than I have seen Biden.
Yeah. We need to demand a recount, and we need an audit, a 100% audit of every single vote right now. These people have showed they're corrupt as can be. If they got the votes, then prove it. Okay, I want to see it. And it makes me think about when I was calling the registrar, asking him, hey, who's printing out the mail outs? Are you guys printing it out there? Is it just software you're using? Or, oh, there's another client we use, another group. We what's the word, Johnny? When you give out the work. When you give it to somebody else. Well, delegate is where we farm it out.
What?
There's another term. We outsource it. Thank you. We outsource the work to a mailing company. I couldn't even, you know what I'm saying? We give it but I was like, well, what information do they get? I want to know where they're printing it out. Think about it. Because there were people, we did a report on this before. There was a lady who said that she found out her dead husband voted 4 times. 4 times for the Democrat. And she was just disgusted by it. But, okay, that's one situation. Oh, that was just one situation that's being overblown. Okay, we'll prove it. Let's get it out there. Let's take a look at all our mail-ins. How about all our mail-ins? Just our mail-ins alone.
We'd need to look at all the provisionals, so that would take forever.
Well, all those provisionals we know. And once again, we went into that friggin' room, ladies and gentlemen. We saw stacks and stacks of provisionals that won't be counted. But you people were saying, oh, provisionals will get counted out there. Any of you jerk-offs in the Bernie Sanders campaign, not mentioning any names, Raul or what's his name? Rafa and Lewis saying, oh, provisionals will get counted. You said that shit, right? Put your money where your mouth is. Did you go up? Did you show up in that room like we did with Maria Estrada and crew and Linda Teach and Johnny Sue? Okay? And Rodolfo? Did you guys show up in that room? And Melissa, did you see the tons and tons of provisional ballots that won't be fucking counted? No, you didn't. We did.
And it gets worse because instead of actually fighting back with something that substantial actions for the people, the Democrats are just piling on against Trump in such immature attacks that it's just really cringy. It's cringe, guys. It's so hard to watch. So Nancy Pelosi,
Orange Man bad.
Nancy Pelosi went on with Anderson Cooper, and he asked her about coronavirus and blah blah blah, and she somehow thought that meant it was Trump bashing time. Let's just take a look at the intelligence and the solutions she's giving the American people.
We started with the president's comments about that anti-malarial drug, hydroxychloroquine. Madam Speaker, what's your reaction to the president saying that he's now taking hydroxychloroquine? Are you concerned?
Well, first let me say how happy I am about your new baby. How lovely.
Oh, well,
Wyatt. Wyatt, how perfectly named. We all know why that is, and congratulations. And as you now are a father, you see how important it is to keep the world safe for the children, As far as the president is concerned, he's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved by the scientists, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So I think it's not a good idea.
We started with the president's comments.
So we start talking about Anderson Cooper's son. Like, oh yeah, hi old friend, we hang in the same circles. We're rich oligarchs. So yeah, let's divert attention away to your son. And then she starts talking about hydroxychloroquine and how Trump can't take it because he's fat. Okay, first of all, let me just say this, and I've talked about this before. I've actually taken that years ago when I got sick all the time, and I haven't been sick since. And it wasn't just that. I mean, I took a Z-Pack and an inhaler. I used to get literally coronavirus coughs all the time. And I haven't been sick since. I don't know if it works. A lot of people say it works for them. I think there's something deeper here. I'm not somebody that is an anti-vaxxer by any means, but I am somebody that questions why we trust Big Pharma all the time. We trust Big Pharma when it comes to our health, but then we talk shit about them on every other level. We don't want them in control of our health care, yet we're telling people to rely on a vaccine that we know nothing about. And I don't think hydroxychloroquine is killing people. I just don't think it is. I mean, I don't see the harm in telling people to take that. That's just my personal opinion. And I think we can question where people's money funneling these sort of medications and big pharma's input is coming from. Like, we have to question that. If we're questioning everything else, it would be hypocritical not to question it. That doesn't mean I'm an anti-vaxxer. That just means I'm not necessarily comfortable just taking any vaccine. I've never even taken the flu shot, but I also don't get the flu. So there's that.
I have one thing to say. Vote Shahid Buttar. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please.
And even if you don't like,
go.
She does. And even if you don't agree with everything he says, he's literally like going to go after the intelligence agencies, and he's going to go after the election issue. And that's something that's important. Oh, you want to say something? Go ahead.
These are sick people, John. Sick people.
The worst part about this video is she's like, the kids, it's the kids, and she does not understand. She voted for fucking Trump's National Defense Authorization Acts.
Yep.
Every year he's been in office.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what does that money go to? The military-industrial complex.
Yep.
What does that go to?
Killing
bombs
kids.
bombs that kill kids and civilians in the Middle East
and rob us from money for the kids here and poor people here.
What does that money go to? It goes to sanctions that we put on Venezuela and Iran, and kids are fucking dying because of that shit. You care about kids? I can't keep going on. Okay, anyways.
So there's this
Shahid.
He's going to put this here. This is good.
Shahid made a post about it.
Oh yeah.
And I really liked what he said, actually. Like Trump, Pelosi is very skilled at getting attention for acts of theater.
Theater.
Body shaming the president is a poor substitute for actually opposing his racist authoritarian policies. Her failure to do so and willingness to enable him are why we fail. Are why we'll replace Pelosi this fall. Boom.
I think everybody should go help Shahid up north. I want to go help him up north.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to go.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a 5-hour, 6-hour drive for us, and I think it's important.
When is the election? Is it still going to be on a certain date, or did they twist it? Did
November.
They turn it and stuff? No. Oh, man.
November,
really, to tell you the truth, Shahid, he's got to get better, too, on election integrity issues. Not to say that he's been awful about it, but he really needs to have everything in place to protest this election when it comes through.
Yeah.
Well, and
demand to see the mail-ins, demand to see the voting. Do everything you can.
Maybe we should go up there.
We should. I mean, he really needs to get on point with this stuff because they're going to cheat him. All right, they're going to cheat him good. Now, don't get me wrong. She has a lot of support in that area. It's a big, high-money area. There's a lot of business people.
But there are also a lot of poor people.
There is. And there's there's college towns. There's pockets and avenues where Shahid can take up a lot of votes.
And Republicans. Yeah. Let's not discount Republicans who hate Pelosi. I mean, I'm talking like hate her as much as or more than they hated Hillary. Yeah. I mean, that is a group of people you want to try to talk to. Be like, look, we're getting rid of this woman, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think that would be, if I were in his campaign, I would advise him, definitely go after the Republican vote. That's it.
And maybe, once again, I think the one thing that Shahid did is he kind of jumped on that Democratic establishment mentality of like, Donald Trump is a criminal president. He's awful, whatnot. He should have just concentrated on Nancy and not there, because maybe Donald Trump would have said, and this guy, Shahid Buttar. I don't know him. Baton. I don't know him, but you should vote for him. What's his name? He's an excellent man.
Baton.
Vote for him. But I know he doesn't want the endorsement from Donald Trump.
Yeah,
he's in that area. But once again, you
got to pick your battles, because I think right now you're not gonna. I mean, he would absolutely have gotten a lot more from Republicans if he was less anti-Trump. Not that he's not against Trump, but it's like, vocally, like, the issue has to be both.
Yeah.
So it's so ridiculous. This one person really tweeted what I felt like.
You gotta explain this to me right now.
Okay, so this person said, my landlord loved the video of Pelosi calling Trump fat so much that now we have rent relief for the building. This is, I mean, to me, it's such a great tweet. It's satire, right? Because nobody's gonna get helped by anything Nancy Pelosi just freaking said. Your rent is still gonna be high. Your landlord still can kick you out. We're not getting any money. We're not getting any of this. Yeah, but Nancy Pelosi, the neoliberals, they yas queen Nancy Pelosi all the time. Do you know what I mean by yas queen? Like, that's all they do.
Yas
like, literally.
Queen.
So yes, we're all gonna have Medicare for all now just because Nancy Pelosi called Trump out. That is how ridiculous it is.
I saw the psych. The psych made it more.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Fam, another thing, and I know you love this, that the neoliberal left is doing, and neoliberal center, they are 100% promoting censorship, and just double downing
they don't give a shit
on the childish insults against Trump. They're making him look like a victim. They're making me side with him. They're making me like to have to defend the guy because he's right. And this is what they're doing. Everybody from Mika to Stephen King. So the New York Post. Joe Biden finally makes up nickname for Trump. President Tweety. That is news.
Great. Oh, gotcha. Thank
President Tweety. Oh, that's so nice.
Good job, Joe.
Oh, there's Mika. I will be reaching out to the head of Twitter about their policies being violated every day by President Trump. Hope my call is taken. Please retweet if you agree.
And it shows that, The Hill did a little report on it, whatnot.
We'll show that in a minute.
Yep.
And let me just read this one, too. The Independent, this is what they said. Breaking news. Trump is a child with doggy doo on his pants, Pelosi says, doubling down on doggy doo. I'm sorry. Where did she learn how to insult? We need to teach Nancy how to insult better. And then there's Stephen King, the guy whose books I've read. Trump needs TP for his bunghole.
Can I say it right?
He is cornholio.
Trump needs TP for his bunghole. He is cornholio. That's Beavis and Butthead. I am cornholio. I need more TP for my bunghole.
I can't.
Don't you remember Beavis and Butthead?
No,
I did it perfectly.
Barely watched it.
Man, my impressions. Well, you guys are a little bit younger than me. I watched.
A little bit.
That was in the movie. He took a bunch of stuff, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He was taking a bunch of pills, and he was walking around. I am cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole. So, I mean, obviously, that's what Stephen King, and he was all wired on speed doing it. And it was like his jaw was shaking when he was doing it.
Democrats,
Beavis and Butthead.
We're going to win. We're going to win by making fun of Trump and calling him doggy doo and doggy poo.
But this does kind of point out the fact that we have to say this right now. And I don't mean to say this because I said, what type of voter is out there? What's the majority of the voters? It's low informed voters are what we got. And everybody is so damn consumed, fam. We talk about it all the time. I know we're in a little bit pause. Some people are sitting at home and going crazy, but for the most part, people are consumed, not with just shopping and buying stuff and consumerism that way, but consumed with work, working their ass off, 2 or 3 jobs. By the time they get home, they don't want to hear any boring, political news that we thrive and we love to hear every single day. They just want to kick their shoes off, have a beer. So this shit kind of works. It's the simple stuff on the relaxed, overworked brain that really digs in there and has a big part of the low-informed voters to actually go out there and vote against Donald Trump. Because they haven't said, come vote for me. They said, just don't vote against him. Don't vote for the other guy. Has been their message for so long. And guess what? At the end of the day, it never works because we do have a decent pocket of people within this country who are smarter than the establishment makes them out to be. And they see through their bullshit. They see through their lies. Hopefully some people watch these shows and understand how their lies, like Joe Biden. I mean, okay, Trump is bad, but what about you? Does that excuse your fucking actions all the time when it comes to using the intelligence agency to go after a duly elected president, a rightfully elected president, from going in and having regime change and then carpetbagging, taking money, making so much money off the blood of the people on the Maidan in Ukraine, his actions in China, his pushing for the crime bill, the bankruptcy bill. He was the first one talking about building a wall. I mean, what are you doing here, ladies and gentlemen? This guy is fucking evil. The Democrats are evil. And this shit right here that they're throwing at you, the Mikas and all the rest of the people, it's censorship at the highest level.
Mika's a propagandist. She's not a journalist. Like the majority of these people, they're propagandists. They're there to say the exact same things. They have to be okay to say whatever they say about people like Hillary, about anybody else. They are not journalists. They aren't even commentators. They're propagandists.
They are. Poopy Cake says, great show today.
Cakes.
Thank you for the super chat contribution, Poopy Cakes. It is always appreciated on the couch. Got a lot of cool people hanging on in there. Guys, like, share, and subscribe. They're not hitting the bell. They're not sharing us. So you need to do it for us because you guys have carried us this whole time. You might as well continue to carry us.
Did we do everything?
Did we hit? We all the Twitters.
Did we do all the Twitters?
So we talked about Nance. We talked about the landlord.
We did.
I remember that Mika interview with Russell Brand. If you guys want to see something cool, go back and see that. The way she acted, she's such an idiot. She's just like, you know what I'm saying? And that's when Russell Brand really started to explode. And I love Russell Brand. Mika is a donkey. She's always been a donkey, and I don't care.
What's your favorite word? Okay,
donkey.
So just in more...
Let's talk about your boy.
Let's talk about this because a lot of people are really upset. Melissa Michelson went on Facebook Live yesterday for like a while. She was upset. And I'm not laughing because I think this is funny. It's just at the point where I don't care. I'm angry. And the Sanders campaign has continued to push hardcore leftists away. And I'm just going to summarize this. So it gets a little wonky with the delegate stuff. But I'm just going to be very easy when I explain it. Basically, the Bernie Sanders delegate selection process, they've decided to move it into a virtual caucus. And they added more select people to be allowed to run. Okay, so the majority of these added folks we don't recognize. We don't know. We're asking each other, who are these people? And they still rejected the hardcore burners. And this is many burners who have put their blood, sweat, and tears into knocking doors for Bernie, who have given him so much money, if not all of it. And they're not going to be silenced. They're very upset. More people are speaking out. We've been covering it. I specifically have been covering it.
In there. Did Ben Hawk, is he one of them?
Yeah, so we're going to go over what Ben Hawk said, but this is an entire co-option of the movement. This isn't as much about I didn't get picked. It's more of who they are picking specifically for a sort of opposition with Joe Biden, and you're picking people that are already capitulating to the establishment. What are you going to fucking get if you're picking these people already? And the few people that were chosen, even those people we like, they're not really the hardcore people that are going to say, you know what, give us Medicare for all or we walk out. We need that right now. That's not what's happening. It's zero. It's pointless to have this facade of a unity thing going on. It's a trash force coalition. It's a giant waste of time. Literally, there's no opposition. And so we have the link, and you guys can, if you click on the link, you can go and see by district who was chosen. One of the people they chose in one of the districts, Lily Starling, she's good friends with David Atkins, those neoliberals, part of the California Democratic Party that said that we are conspiracy theorists because we say election fraud is real. That's the kind of people they've chosen to represent Bernie fucking Sanders. So I want to go over exactly what my friend Ben Hawk. Now, Ben Hawk, he's a friend. He is an activist and an organizer here. I've been, working with him for years now. And he maxed out on donations to Bernie Sanders. And he actually wrote something very powerful to Bernie. And he said, "Dear Bernie Sanders, you probably won't see this, but I am one of your most committed supporters here in California. I knocked over 1,000 doors, made hundreds of calls, became a Bernie victory captain, organized events, and maxed out my donations. I helped you win. I was blocked as a delegate." People like him are being blocked as a I got to be honest, his resume, as far as working for Bernie, it beats most people's I know, including my own. I mean, this man has done so much for Bernie Sanders, and for people like that to be pushed out, it's what's the point? That's no longer a Bernie Sanders campaign. I don't know what it is, but it is not a progressive campaign. Nope. Our movement is being taken away, and I'm going to have Papi Chulo on tomorrow at 2 to discuss the attack on the left by certain sycophants, certain people that are co-opting our movement. And that's what we're going to be discussing, because this is a very big thing. We're being attacked now if we aren't still committed to supporting the Sanders, what's the remnants of the Sanders campaign, right? Whatever's left, because that's not the real thing. And I'm going to call Bernie Sanders out. I'm going to call everybody out that's not genuine and isn't upset at this. His own supporters are angry because he's not standing up to any of this. And yes, Ben said, I know this isn't just Bernie Sanders. I know it's bigger than him, but at some point, it's where is he?
Bernie Sanders, how do you feel about election integrity? Let me tell you something. Medicare for all. That's what we need.
Yes, we do. We need Medicare for all, but we're never going to get it when our votes don't count.
Bernie Sanders, what about the people in that campaign from you? They're not being chosen as delegates. We need to hold Wall Street accountable. Bernie Sanders, what about, you working with Biden for weeks on these task force, and yet you kind of conceded the election, the primary to him a little bit earlier? Donald Trump is the worst president ever. You got to go vote for my friend Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you call Joe Biden your friend at this point?
It's not
you know
happening.
What I'm saying? And that was the hard thing. Tomorrow I'm going to be on with Dak Raulu at 12.
The Tulsi, and then we're going to have the...
well, it's just kind of hard. How do you really, you know what I'm saying?
I don't get it.
Once again, she did what she was contractually obligated to do and dipped out the door, and she hasn't really got back in there again and have to do this,
But
unfortunately.
Bernie Sanders is out there telling people to vote for Joe Biden.
He's riding
He's
shotgun.
literally it's far worse.
It just seems like he was I really didn't think he was threatened, because he had to have been threatened, because why would he be doing this? He just turned. I mean, Joe Biden has been fucking awful, but yet he's continued on this path. It's sad at this point, but that's something we have to consider.
But Pasta,
right now.
he did what he said he would. He endorsed the nominee.
I think because of last time in 2016 that he got so much shit that he went out earlier this time. I mean, obviously there was a lot of shit going on with
this
the
time.
coronavirus.
It was just a perfect storm of shit gone wrong with that campaign.
But Joe Biden, how the hell do you think? I mean, there's no way he got these votes. And anybody who think he got these votes and there's no election rigging out there, you're nuts. You're nuts. I called and asked the registrar he didn't even know who makes the mail-in ballots. Okay, so somebody else is kind of handling it.
Yep.
It's a private group, probably talking to elites, mailing out ballots to locations where dead people are, or people who, I mean, they had to have fucking. I would love to get my fingers in there. We should demand this.
Yep.
Hey, listen, Joe Biden has been implicated in so many things when it comes to ObamaGate, Ukrainegate, that we need a 100% audit in California of all mail-in ballots, all digital ballots, all counted ballots, all provisional ballots. We want to see the whole kit and caboodle. We need to see the whole kit and caboodle, because if we show that what they did in California, which California was the area, we said this is the hot spot. We got moved up right now. Bernie Sanders, despite all his, and let me tell you something, he made mistakes, but despite his mistakes, they are so little compared to what Joe Biden has done right now that he should have still won hands down, despite the mistakes that
we
Bernie
won
made.
because of people like Ben, because of people like Melissa. That's what, even with all the rigging, that's how much Bernie Sanders would have won, like 80% of the vote. He should have. And the fact that he didn't says a lot. Yeah. California was one of the most rigged state primaries.
If you live in California, call up the registrar, call the number and ask them who made the mail-in ballots, okay? Who did them? Who do we contract them out to, right? We want to know where they get their data information from, who gives them their information. So how do they know to make it to who? And then when they come in, who counts them? All those things, those mail-in. We want to know about the mail-in ballots. Then ask about the provisionals. How many provisional ballots are there? You know what I'm saying? We want all that information. We want 100% audit. Call up and demand it before they call the election. You know?
All right. So, fam, where are we going to next?
I don't know, but right now we're going to leave this show for just a second. Johnny, you got anything else to get us out of here?
No, just the new format here.
Okay. Show it up there. The new format, you can catch us live on YouTube, ROKFIN, and Periscope. After, the live stream will only be available on ROKFIN and Patreon. Shareable clips from the live stream will be posted on our YouTube and ROKFIN as well. They're shareable, and that's what we need you to do. Get out there and share us. Yesterday, we had an interview with a Jesse Ventura insider. He said unequivocally that Jesse still wants to run. He just needs all these things to happen. The stars need to align. Tony Watches Closely is on, Johnny. He's checking us out.
We got your picture with your shirt.
Yeah.
That was lovely.
We're going to get more pictures of shirts, and then we're going to show everybody.
Yeah, we're going to
show it when we get a little collection together, but thank you so much. And if you have got a shirt, send it into the Convo Couch so me and Johnny and Fee can get it up on one of our shows. We showed Roshan when the show, when he had the green shirt.
Oh, yeah, so we got to add Roshan.
Yeah, right. We already showed Roshan, but we'll show you again, Roshan. We know you're watching. We love you.
Just want to say that you can, Tina's live actually right now on ROKFIN. She's premiering her interview that I helped film. So you can find her on rockfin.com/live/Tina Desiree Berg. And then you can see that she's about to go.
She's a lot of herself.
Angelica Duenas.
Check her out if you guys haven't. She's running against a neoliberal.
Tony Cardenas, who we just exposed, co-sponsors a lot of bills that really infringe on our civil liberties.
It is a premium content, so. But she's got a bunch of free interviews on there also, so you should check those out.
Yep. That's Angelica Duenas, who is doing an awesome job. She ran as a Green. Now she's running as a Democrat because, unfortunately, you can't get past the two-party duopoly nowadays until we get people like this in to change it all. But once again, I know that Tony Cardenas is a establishment insider, and they're going to cheat like hell. She needs to then protest the results immediately.
We need more candidates
immediately.
to
Just
do
protest the results, make a stick about it, say we want to see all the mail-ins. We want to see the proof in black and white. The people deserve transparency. I'm fighting for everyone's vote, is what she should say, and go through with it.
Awesome, fam.
So, Johnny, anything else? For Pasta Jardula?
Fiorella.
Johnny Sue on the ones and twos.
Combo out.
Peace.